Hello everyone and good afternoon. Today is, what day is it? January 12th. I'm going to be doing a backtesting session of EURUSD on the date of January 4th, which I do remember there was a nice price action that we could have taken advantage of. Don't entirely remember what happened, but well, we'll see what we can get out of this one. So, we'll begin as always by analyzing 15 and 5-minute structure first, which could show us what could happen through the rest of the day based on whatever structures respected or not respected. We see that, so we can see that there's a higher high here, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, now a lower low. Now that's definitely something. Right, but the fact that this area has not been broken yet and price is kind of respecting it to the point that it might be potentially going to go up now, definitely shows some really good bullish intent, so we do have to remember that. But as the 15-minute trend has changed to bearish, we will keep this area of supply in mind as well. But as you can see, we have a pretty clear path all the way up to that, right? Now that's only the 15-minute, because in the 5-minute we have this, which was already used, or well, not used but mitigated, and then we have this. That's an area in the middle. Basically, I wouldn't really expect much of a reaction from there, but for sure we'll keep it in mind just in case something good pops out of that. And well, as an example, if we were to catch a trade around this area, right, we could definitely target this to have a somewhat of a good target, but still conservative, just in case price decides to turn back from that point. Now, what I can see is that, well, first price reacting to somewhat in the something in the 15-minute or probably higher time frames even to the left, we see an impulse up. Now, this is my confirmed high and this is my confirmed low, right? So all that I expect as the move was lower, I expect price to retrace back up to something important and then continue to go lower, right? Also, we don't really have any breaks of structure based on the 15-minute, because all of the structure is just rangy price action that was just going lower, but still impulsing. So what I would have liked to see as an example would have been something like this, right? That if we were to break that, then that turns bullish in the 15-minute. And if we check to the left, well, we realize that we are at a key area bullishly. And that's when we start analyzing and trying to spot good trades that could happen in that direction, bullish, right? But still, what we see is that price was going lower pretty strongly, then starts to slow down, right? And then we see impulse up, sort of a range, impulse up, range, blah blah blah, and now got back up, got back down to the extreme, tapped the area. We could say that this is a 5-minute chalk. I know I'm in the 15-minute, but in the 5-minute this is definitely more structured than the 15. And for now, that is pretty much it. We will keep this in mind due to the fact that it basically reacted to this, right? And also swept some liquidity from here. So that's definitely a sponsor candle as well, so we'll keep that in mind. 5-minute chalk. Let's just get to the lower time frames. So this is an important area, right? Price taps this area, starts to create liquidity. Liquidity takes that, liquidity takes that, liquidity takes that. And after this break, we can go for this, right? Based off, we see a pretty much a very strong bullish intent based on this area, which is based on something in the higher time frames, right? So at this point, this is a good trade. Now, as an example, when price pulls away too much from the POI, if it causes something in the 5-minute, that I tend to take the risk entry in the 5-minute, just like that. But in some cases I could just miss out on a trade or just skip it, right, because I don't really like it. So what I would expect for is the double confirmation entry to that move. So we do see the 5-minute chalk. There's liquidity here, that's definitely good. This so when price goes up, ranges up there and then comes back down to something in the extreme or whatever, I don't really like this entirely, but it depends on how it forms. If it forms in something to the left, which in this case it does, it really depends on a lot. So this is probably a trade that I would have not taken due to the fact that it pulled away a lot, it's reacting to supply, so it's not really that good entirely. And then we see that, well, price continued to push higher. Now all of these areas are completely useless. I don't really think price could cause much from there, but if price does get to here, it gives me good confluences, and I can see some really good intent, some really good bullish intent, then I'm definitely inclined to take advantage of that. But again, it really depends on the context and where the area is actually at. So now reacting to the extreme, let's see what we got. Broke the high, so completely took that. Still respecting something to the left. We could say that this 1 minute could be respected. Now when those areas are so far away, if that's the 1 minute, if it's visible in the 1 minute, I mean of course it is visible in higher time frames, right, because this is the extreme. Took this liquidity as well. I guess this is a pretty important area. But due to the impulse that we have from the bullish side, I will be careful with what I do up here, right? Didn't want to play like that, but okay. So what I see here is price creating a high high, high low, high high. Now we see a chalk and a flip. So that means that we could basically take either the cause or the extreme. Now based on concepts that I tend to use, the extreme is more likely to work out in this case. And yeah, and this pretty much be used as liquidity. Now that does not mean that that's what will happen. And I'm not even going for this just yet, but definitely could be an option. So you can see here we do have price respect in this, right? Which is the cause to this move here. It did create equal highs, yeah. It create equal highs as well. So that could be considered as an example price. Maybe creating equal highs for this, but still nothing really clear for me to trade. So there's not much really going on. Price swept liquidity there, but it never, well at least not so far. Now what I do like is that it is creating a lot of liquidity, I was going to say, but now it pretty much swept everything with this move. So that turns this area into something really important that we could take advantage of if price decides to come back up here. Now all that I need at this point is something clear, some clear indication that price could come back up to that and then continue to fall. Then our price is creating liquidity, which is really good. Kind of wanted to go for this, but that candle is just a no for now, you know. We'll see if that actually triggers the entry. Yeah, it does. Alright, well, nothing for me to do there. I wanted to go for it, but then I saw this candle, so I said, you know what, let's just give it a couple of minutes, a couple of good candles. It could sweep the high for liquidity, and at that point I might be even more interested. So let's do it like this. Gonna put another entry, sorry, not another, but an entry here. Stop loss, let's be safe with the stop loss too. It's fine, and at the very least we kind of want to go down to this, although the way that this was created, this kind of a strongly goes down but then immediately goes up. It's just, I see this high, this low, sorry, exactly as this high. The manipulation, well not the manipulation, but the strength of the move just created a lot of liquidity, and so did this, right? So that's why I'm really not liking this, and not only because of that, but also the fact that it took, but pulled quite a lot. So I'm not really interested in that for now. We'll see if this one gives us anything. And no, I'm going to take that as a no. So we can definitely go for now the next entry, which is about to be triggered. And gonna use again sort of a safe stop loss up here at 25. Gonna go for this, which is the safe target per se. 7R, that's good. Could get something better later on, but for now I'm just gonna go for this. That high. Kind of swept the highs now. That's a good impulse. We can see somewhat of a chalk there, but I wouldn't really be a huge fan of that. And if this low was broken, we could definitely go for that next entry. Just do it like that. Yeah, well, we could go for an entry now, but let's see if it actually comes back up to that. No, kind of give an entry there. Nothing we would have taken a big shove though. Alright, so pretty good trade. Why do I have 733? No, 7. Okay. Pretty good entry. Simply based on, well, price reacting to an important POI, in my opinion, took a lot of liquidity. We see some major intent to the downside, liquidity being created to then be swept, and yeah, looking beautiful, and well, the trade kind of worked out, not as I would have expected, because price actually what it did was sweep these highs, right? And what I went for was this, right? So if I wanted to see price sweeping those highs, I would have just placed my entry somewhere around here, with the stop loss a tiny bit higher, and that would have been a 1 at 12, right? But still, the thing is that having the analysis or identifying the direction based on a certain area already is a really good improvement compared to most traders that actually fail. So, oh, okay, yeah, that completely failed. Let's see what happens next. We have a major break. As you can see, price never really caused much of a reaction there, so nothing for me to do to try and apply some concept or anything like that. There's literally nothing. First round move up. Let's see if it's reacting to something on the left. I don't want to pull that much. Nah, it's not even worth at that point. So what I'm seeing here is that there was somewhat of a range here before this impulse down that takes the major break, that takes the major low, right? Now came back up, still respecting, but that kind of created more liquidity. So I'm interested in the move, but still, as an example, if we swap the highs now, then there could be a good entry to go for. But this is just very rangy price action. So I tend to say this, that when price ranges, it's getting ready to do something, and the question is, what was it getting ready to do now, and will it impulsed down after ranging a lot? So, for example, if I wanted to sell, we do have reasons to believe that the cost could work, as it has mitigated the extreme partially, but it has, or that the extreme could work out and us taking basically that high as liquidity, right? Also, we can see that this major break has been taken. Some liquidity was swept from the middle, right? And that's really pretty much it, because we do have liquidity against us, which is really not good. Well, it's not bad either, but I would prefer price sweeping that liquidity before actually continuing it to go lower. So, here's what we'll do. We'll consider this area. I don't really like the extreme due to the liquidity, so what I wanted to see is some liquidity being created here, or some manipulation that is happening close to this PI, for me to then be able to take that trade. Okay, so this is this is actually a really good manipulation. Manipulation is just simply BFIs inducing people to try and sell or buy, creating liquidity towards this or that POI. So that means that lots of stop losses have in place here based on the move that happened here and the reaction that we are getting here now. So a lot of traders saying, okay, let's sell from this level, and their stop losses are just above. So I tend to like when the liquidity is created close to the POI, which in this case it's created close to this. We could expect price to go up to the extreme, but in my opinion the extreme has been kind of mitigated. In the 2 it hasn't, in the 3 it has, and in the 5 of course will not. Okay, so yeah, that's good liquidity, that's good manipulation. I would like to see a strong move up to recover that. That's a good rejection. I'm gonna go for this, but as an example, recently I've started risking 1%, so I'm really confident on this strategy and comfortable with this strategy and the risk to reward ratio, right? So this will be one of those trades where I decide to risk half, which will be a 0.5. In this, I would have risked a 1% due to the fact that it has some really good confluences and it's reacting to some really strong POIs. And this move here is just generated to create liquidity. Lots of people was trying to buy from here, 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 and well, even further away, right? This move just created liquidity. I don't expect price to really react to anything of this. That's why I prefer waiting for extra confirmations before me entering in a trade on an area like created like this. Now, if price ranges as an example like this, and you have liquidity involved, manipulation, and everything, that's just really good, right? You just have tons of signals or indications that the price could go lower based on that point. The fact that it's getting to the same level and it's really not being able to break it really shows a lot of the manipulation happening in there. So that would have been a little bit scary. This continues to be scary till now. Alright, so we got a pretty strong first mitigation, right? Price went straight through to take that liquidity, and then what I believe happens here in this transaction, stop losses are taken, then say look at this then people say look at this candle, let's buy with stop loss here, and now price will just take that, right? So that's good because you can see liquidity on both sides, so you have a reason for price to go higher and then a reason for price to go lower. Yeah, so liquidity swept, and okay, that would have been quite a quick trade. I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting that kind of an impulse. Not sure if this can get too far, but being honest, there's nothing really close and clear for me to trade, right? We have those lows, not much here, but the thing and the problem with this one is that the only thing that we could actually use is the 1 hour, right? Which is basically this, which we could use as this, but just keep it like that. Okay, so let's see now if that target would have been hit, which would have been just an extra hour. Would have not really risked it for that much, honestly. It's actually quite a strong reaction. Yeah, it would have not actually reached that. I mean, it's really close, which actually doesn't really give me much hope for this low, right? Because this low being created so close to a POI, it tends to fail acting as liquidity for price to later on give us some really good entry that we can take advantage of, right? So let's see. Now that the lower low is created, I'd expect price to create the lower high. Lower high that we could take, by the way, based ourselves on that POI, but not really interested on it for now. And we could say that there was somewhat of an entry on this point, but nothing I'm really interested on. When price starts ranging or slowing down, I just don't really like it at all. I prefer not really paying much attention to that. So now that this bullish move is happening, we can start to analyze and try to identify why is price doing this. So we said that this move happened out of nowhere. We don't really have anything clear to the left. Price failed to mitigate this, but it does mitigate this candle, so I suppose there's a 3 or 2 minute candle in there. And price came back down to this, taking this liquidity, which also had created liquidity here, so that's equal lows basically, and the liquidity created by that. So there's a good amount of liquidity, price sweeps that, still respects something within that, and causes the major move. Now, for me to buy, I would like to see this high broken, because this might confirm low, this might confirm high, this might confirm low, right? So everything that is happening in between here, it's just pure substructure price action, right? So I'm not really interested in that, so let's just wait and see what we get. And we could miss out on an entry, because as an example, this could be a good area to trade from, as it could be the extreme, right? So for now, we'll just see what happens. Alright, so that's actually quite a strong move. At this point, I really want to be analyzing my entry. The 5, well, the extreme, to be fair, looks kind of mitigated by this move down, right? The cause looks quite clean, not gonna lie, but wouldn't be really it does sweep some liquidity from the middle, right? So what we can see here is we're just trying to stack the confluences towards this or that POI, right? If we got multiple POIs, I will tend to aim at the extremes. The extremes tend to work out better when you don't have when you have multiple areas to choose from. And in some cases you can analyze, and as an example, this POI looks good due to the fact that it took liquidity, and as soon as it swept that liquidity, just immediately blasted out. Now we do have the 5-minute chalk here, so that's great. Chalk up. So that means that we definitely have somewhat of a potential risk entry working out within the substructure. Now the potential confirmation entry here, right? This will be following the confirmation entry. So at this point, this is an entry that I want to go for. And if price reacts to this PI and gives me enough confluences to trust it, then I could take the confirmation entry based on this PI, right? So I want to refine down to this, which is the unmitigated wick. But for now, I just need, if liquidity was created on this side, something that I like seeing a lot is when price, as an example, let's suppose it was going lower, blah, 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 kind of ranges, gives us somewhat of a good liquidity pool being created here, then boom, it just takes all of that liquidity, then starts going higher, and you have, as an example, either this or the extreme, right? What I like seeing is when price comes back down, starts to create somewhat of liquidity there, and this, it's just like liquidity on one side, liquidity on the other. So that's 2 extra confluences along with the change in the trend and everything, right? So those are really good trades, not really good trades, but really good setups that could pop up during a session that I would really like to see. So let's just, okay, I didn't mean to play the play. I didn't mean to hit the play. So I do like the fact that it's kind of reacting from that, but not much from now. It nicked the low already. That's a strong reaction, right? So what I can see here is that first move doesn't really create that much. Second move creates something, and the third move, when some stop losses are taken and then this huge candle happens, there's a lot of fear of missing out, so that creates a lot of stop losses down here. So that turns this into a potential really good trade. I'm still not really convinced about it, so let's just keep it going. Okay, so now it has tapped the POI, but it has left a lot of liquidity out there, so definitely something that we could take advantage of, right? Because at this point, price has reasons to go higher, and the reasons to go lower were this liquidity created here, and of course the liquidity created on this move. But the thing is that this move took liquidity from this side, so creating liquidity here, grabbing that liquidity along with this, as I said, it's just, in my opinion, good enough liquidity for price to continue to go with the trend. So price was not really impulsing that much. Now it has taken the low. That looks actually quite good. So at that point, what I want to see is the break of that high, right? Because that's my confirmed high at that point. And that is just completely awful. Sucks, because the entry is really, the setup looks good, but the entry is just the worst. So I guess we could go for the 50%, right? But I think this is quite a risky trade in my opinion. Let's see if it pulls away a little bit more. Well, that's something. But thing is that, I don't know, it just doesn't look that good, honestly. My price, it's just, I don't like the candles, you know? At this point, we could be looking for the higher high, right? We have the 5-minute higher high, now the higher low, now the higher high. At the same time, we could be more conservative and just aim at this, right? Which is close to 5 hours, so it's definitely possible. But for now, we'll just see what happens with this one. I don't like that it's respecting supply. That's a trigger. I don't like that it's respecting supply because... No, actually, it's just creating more and more liquidity, so that's good because there's no liquidity left behind us, and there is some liquidity for price to take, along of course with this high, which really didn't react too much on the left, honestly. Okay, quite strong move. At this point I will trade my stop loss below the low. Alright, just being conservative there. Wouldn't trade it to break even just in case it decides to come back and mitigate this. I prefer taking a half a loss than a break even that doesn't work out later on. Also, we could say that there's definitely a potential opportunity going to happen here. Price is creating some good liquidity there, right? So it's really about paying attention to the details. If you don't pay attention to the details, you're going to miss out on liquidity on important areas, and you won't know where to apply the concepts that we know. That's a pretty strong candle. Would have been scared to take this trade, to be honest. I was not really. Maybe I would have gone for just the open, because the area is not really that large. 22 pips of stop loss. Well, 22 ticks, sorry, not 22 pips. And again, just looking for the higher high. That would have been 532. That candle is just... Honestly, when I see this type of moves, this low is a pure liquidity, so I'm starting to dislike this order flow here. That could lead for price basically taking the low, grabbing all of the liquidity, finally mitigating that extreme POI, and then it gives us some really good entry that we can take advantage of, right? So yeah. Broke the high, barely though, so it could be seen as a swap on liquidity. Got down to the extreme. Respecting it, sounds good, I'd say. Got a continuation for now. I would like to see this high being broken, but wouldn't really indicate that much as of now. And okay, it's actually a really good move. Let's see how far, if further away it gets it. Actually caused quite a strong move. Really strong move. I would have not targeted anything like this, right? But we're talking about 13 plus 15, somewhere around 28 art. It could have been caught. But, well, instead we caught 7 plus 5. Again, this is being really conservative because due to the move that we could expect from here, we could have aimed at something like the extreme as an example, right? Trying to maybe see somewhat of a reaction of this PI, and that could have led to, well, a 12 hour on this one and 10 hour on that one, right? Which definitely changes completely the outcome, right? But that's a really good move, really good trade. Happened at 11:30, so at this point I'm already kind of getting out of the market. So let's see if anything else pops up for now. There's a break on structure. Price respect to the extreme, funny enough. So we see that we have a tiny break here. Then we see the chalk, price comes back up, respect to extreme, swaps on liquidity, strong impulse down. We could be going for this or the extreme now, right? But I guess we'll find out and see. Price respected this, alright. Well, it is the cost to the break of this. Kind of the cost to the flip, we could say, but not an area I would be interested in trading. I like when the entries that I take are structured, have actually created a risk entry, have actually created the structure itself, right? Basing ourselves in one candle, I don't know, I just don't like it. For example, this one, we do have several candles being created, a good range, a couple of confluences, not just one or two, right? So yeah, pretty much it. And I'd say that's pretty much all that we can get from this, right? At the same time, we do got a confirmation entry that we can go for here. Price respected the risk entry, and now the confirmation entry could definitely be good. I wouldn't go for this. I would go for, well, we could go for that in the 50%. It is kind of creating liquidity towards that, so that's good. And it's completely gone. Something that I kind of do like seeing is this. This is a tiny break of structure. We could say that price reacted to this whole range. Tiny break of structure. The cause is this. Mitigated the extreme, so the extreme is no longer an option. And price respected that CE, right? So that would have been something quite lovely, but of course not something that I would trade. As I said earlier, I prefer seeing clear structure, you know, it's just I prefer to be patient, to actually wait for price to do the clean stuff it wants to do, and blah blah blah, right? So yeah, so that could have been a trade. Let's see how far it actually gets. Well, 16R down to nothing, so we could say that 10R could have been achievable for sure. But yeah, so that's that's pretty much it, honestly. I mean, a really good day. I hadn't seen this. Well, I did see it, but I hadn't traded it, right? And it was quite an interesting trade to see how it swapped all of liquidity. Like the various impulse created out of this huge drop is definitely understandable when you see what happened in this range, right? Ranges are created because price is getting ready to do something, or at least that's what I believe, right? So price ranging here meant something for me. Price ranging here, here, and well here, completely, right, meant something, right? All of this, even though you do see some impulses that we could have taken advantage of, all of this range was just getting ready to cause this huge move up, which I didn't get there. I don't know what that is. Oh, the 5 in effect. All right. So yeah, it's basically the traits that we've taken here that we have analyzed are based simply on order flow, liquidity, and trying to get some really good confirmations to actually go for the trades, right? Trying to be conservative. As an example, out of this day, I would have liked to trade this one, right? The only trade that I would have actually liked to trade. So everything else was kind of not really clear enough. This one just had liquidity everywhere, right? Had liquidity everywhere. The impulse was really good. It came from something that's important, so it just was clinging. This is the dream setup for me, right? And it would have been simply a 12-hour aiming all the way back up to that. Now, as I said, I've been risking a 1% lately because, well, I know that my strategy works and everything, and in the past few months I do have this consistency. And it's just that I've been much more conservative, just waiting for actual clean and important areas to give me enough confluences for me to trade, and if it's in favor of the order flow, it's really all that you need, right? So that's pretty much on the conclusion of this day, or yeah, this backtesting session. And something that I'd like to mention, and something that you should take away from this, is that seeing this and watching me going over this setup, of course I knew most of the things that were going to happen, as I do remember this price action happened just 7 days ago, or 8 days ago. So I kind of do remember what happened, but the thing is going and seeing my thought process through the entire session, right? I'm identifying liquidity. If I see this, then what is it that I do? What is it that I look for? What are the confluences that I look for, and everything, right? It's not simply just seeing, okay, so he took this trade because of this, this, and this, but also seeing how is my progress or my process to actually identify that area, to identify that trade, and actually execute it, and then we'll manage it. Although trade management is not something that I really enjoy making videos about, because I tend to just let it run, right? So as an example, if I would have gotten into this trade, something that I would have liked to aim, seeing the structure, I tend to see it fail completely, but as an example, this POI was not mitigated, right? So that could have been a target, and that's 8R. I have this daily target that if I achieve 8R or 7 or 6, right, I just stop trading. If the first trade of the day is to take profit, I just stop trading. But if then let's suppose I start taking a loss, and then I take a trade that has the potential to go all the way up to 12R. When it gets to 8R, I have this rule where I say if I feel comfortable enough and happy enough with that profit, I'm just taking that away, right? So I don't really have any strict rules on trade management when it comes to when to close the trade. I just have a target, follow that target, that's all that I really do, right? And yeah, of course I didn't go into much detail, but it's really easy to understand the way that I do things, honestly. And yeah, now a little bit of a promotion for the course. This is something that we see and we talk about every single day on the Discord channel, right? We see these concepts working out every single day. Well, not every single day, not every day you'll see good profits, good setups and stuff. For example, Monday passed my challenge, but Tuesday and Wednesday were actually trades that days that there were no trades. Yesterday I took a loss. Today I actually didn't catch anything, which today there was actually some really good trades. Today there were really good trades that happened that I missed out on one because I went for the 50% of the POI, sadly. But being fully honest, I would have not liked taking, I can't show the PA folder. But basically on this one, I was going for, but on the 50%, right? So price completely missed me, And then the continuation, I was interested, but I wanted to see price get into the area, creating liquidity, and then going up, right? Then I would have looked for the type of setups that I go for, right? And well, in this case, price didn't really do much, and well, all of this happened, which was quite a lovely move, honestly, and also proving a point that I have with my students that news tend to work out with the analysis, but that doesn't really mean that I would trade them, right? When I see news, I just stay away. Even if I have a trade, I will definitely just get out of that, right? And because news are really shitty, honestly, it's better to just completely avoid them than to be trying to force something while so much stuff can be going on, right? So again, on the course, on this community, you can find videos like this, videos of me just trading, videos of me backtesting, anything that you can imagine, applying this strategy that I teach. And as of now, it's at a really cheap price in my opinion, but it will continue to increase as a lot of people have been enjoying it lately. And it's something that I'm happy for. Of course, I'm making money out of that, right? But not only because of that, but I also get to share my knowledge, and I love really seeing how the students share trades. Today, I guess I can actually show that. Today, a student was looking for a trade. I actually sent the screenshot of a trade, and now I was actually in it as well. And I had sent the analysis before that, but it didn't say it was a good opportunity or anything, so he just went for it. And here it is. Alright, so you can see him taking the DCE, me inside of the trade already, which this trade actually closed 8%. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Right, 8%. And then this was the break even, wasn't it? Yes. Yeah, I think it was. And I took a loss. I think this loss was actually a trade that I forgot to take out, right? So again, lastly, and yeah, it's really funny seeing how everyone is kind of learning and trying to apply the concepts, asking questions, and I'm trying to answer them, and I'm actually getting to learn with all of the questions that I get asked, and the setups that they share, the reasons why those setups are not really that good, or that they could fail and everything, right? Trying to answer those things are, I don't know, some really interesting things that I get to do now that get me the opportunity to learn a little bit more, right? And well, as I've said many times, I don't really have the consistency that I want to have. I have a good consistency that I have never had, right? I mean, as I showed yesterday, this paper trading account started on the 28th, and is up a 96.8%, right? And look at all of the losses that I've taken, right? And that's just pure risk management, right? Risk to reward ratio and stuff like that. But still, I have a pretty good consistency. As you can see, I passed the challenge. Now, I actually just a few minutes ago got the verification phase credentials. I'm really happy about that. I'm gonna be starting tomorrow for sure. And that is really pretty much it. So hope you enjoyed. Any questions? Any questions regarding the course? Any questions regarding the video? Anything? Just message me. You can find me on Telegram, Instagram, whatever you want, and I'll make sure to answer them. So hope you enjoyed. Hope you took something away from it. I'll be seeing you on to the next one.